Tété, hop.
Oui, venez avec moi. Alexis, tu viens? Oui. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience and sorry for the slight delay. We had some technical issue with the presentation. And thank you to the Boda team, of course, for having us, and to you for joining us today for this session on sovereign AI in practice, how we will be deploying AI for public services in Europe. I'm Gwenaëlle Hervé. I'm the sovereignty strategy lead for Proximus Next in the Benelux. Yeah, William, maybe if you can introduce.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is William. I lead our public sector initiatives for Mistral AI.
And I'm Alexis Voigt, working at advisory of Proximus Next in a data AI subject.
Thank you. So let's have a look at what's on the agenda for today. So first of all, we'll have a look at the digital sovereignty overall and looking at the context and the market trends. This is my part, but I will keep it very short so that we can wrap up with my colleagues and make sure that we are in time for the rest of the presentation. Then William will introduce us with the Mistral AI's portfolio and specific use cases for the public sector. And moving forward, William will explain how Proximus Next can support you with the adoption of Mistral AI. We'll have some time, hopefully, for a closing and a Q&A. So please write down your question or keep them with you so that we can have time to address them at the end of the presentation. Okay, so let's start by setting the scene and having a look at our general reality and overall context. So as you know, and I'll keep it short, as I said, as I'm pretty sure you're all following up on the latest news, but geopolitical tensions, instability on the global trade market, and then technological competition all over the world leads to a need for more control and more autonomy. So this is in this context that sovereignty needs were born and recently increased. And this is confirmed by the trends, as you can see here on the screen. On the left side, so sovereign yes CAGR is expected to grow by 83% by 2030, and sovereign AI market is expected to grow by 77% between 2025 and 2030. So even for our industry, such a two-digit growth is quite impressive. Several players can help adopting sovereignty and making sure that everybody stays in control of its data. This is the case for you here today in the room with us, European companies and institutions. You can do so by making sure that you are avoiding vendor lock-in, and also that you make sure you're diversifying the ecosystem of partners that you're working with. Other players, European service providers, such as Mistral, obviously, and Proximus Next as well, are contributing by extending the portfolio of opportunities. And then, last but not least, Europe, of course. You might be aware of the European framework, European sovereignty framework that was published at the end of 2025, and that will definitely help us adopting sovereignty more and more. Now about Proximus Next. What's our role? So we guide organizations through their overall sovereign journey. As an independent European and Belgian player, we make sure that we can bring towards you the technologies that you need to keep innovating while maintaining control. And if we look at our roadmap since 2023, we've been constantly adding strong partnerships and flexible services so that our customers can select the right tool for the right need. And in the scope of this roadmap, obviously, we achieved in November 2025 a key milestone with the signature of the partnership with Mistral AI. And this partnership is really important to us. Why? Because this is the way to offer to you all the powerful AI capabilities on the available on the European market with Mistral AI, with the AI services and the sovereign infrastructure of Proximus Next. And now I'll hand over to William so that he can explain you further Mistral AI's portfolio and capabilities. Thanks, William.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Gwenelle, for introducing the topic. I'm super happy to explain to you what Mistral is trying to build, tell you a bit more about our missions, why we got created, where we want to go, make a small focus on use cases because I think it's important to see what European providers are building for the European ecosystem. I'll start just giving you a few parameters on where we stand as a company. So we are a 3-year-old company, a bit less than 3 years old. It started as a R&D company, so with ex-researchers from Meta, Google, Hugging Face, and we basically wanted to replicate this technology in Europe. We had all the talents and infrastructure here, so we managed in a short amount of time, about 3 months, to replicate and to build our own model. So in September 2023, we were already considered as a very strong open source model provider. And we are still now in the open source race. That makes a big difference with our American competitors. What we want is to release open and efficient models. So that's the R&D mission we have, is to democratize AI, to decentralize AI, to making sure that it's being run locally, it's being run in factories, in governments, in all our critical sectors. We have raised more than 3 billion euro to be able to train those models, and we are continuing to raise money to make sure that we are independent. We have raised our last round with the ASML, the Dutch champion. Other partnerships are to come. So right now we have a fully independent strategy where we want to be sure that we will continue to train the systems from scratch and that we will continue to deploy those systems in the enterprises and the governments. So we have a very strong B2B and B2G focus. We are not trying to replicate what ChatGPT and OpenAI are doing. We are not a B2C company. We leave that to American companies. What we are trying to do is basically to transform core process inside organizations. So I will get back to this, but we have built more than 25 multimodal models to do so, from reasoning to speech to images and text. So we want to make sure that we have a strong basis of models to basically build a great product on top of it. We are working with more than 15 governments at the moment, with nationwide agreements to transform public services, and we have 7 offices in the world, mostly in Europe, but also in Palo Alto, Singapore, and Middle East. We are reaching 1K employee this month, hopefully. So it's a very, I would say, quick growth. Basically, what we are optimizing for is different from our competitors. We focus on governments, science, and industries as use cases. And what we want to basically optimize is customization of models. So basically, we'll try to make sure that we develop the best product that can be customized to core process use cases. So I will get back to what a core process is, but that's the first thing we focus on. Second thing is the control. So in the deployment, we offer a very flexible deployments from on-prem to cloud. And what we also optimize is customized benchmarks. So we don't want to be considered as only a strong generalist provider, but what we are trying to solve are the most complex problems of the world. So we create benchmarks with companies, and we optimize those use case benchmarks. That's really the big difference with, I would say, AGI on the other side. It's another vision of the things, saying that models will solve naturally all the use cases by themselves is another view, and we don't believe in that. Right now we work with I would say the most advanced companies in Europe. So we are very strong in FSI sectors, manufacturing, industries, and transport, logistics, oil and gas. So really like the most critical businesses in Europe. And you will understand why it's basically linked to core process use cases. 4 main differences with the other big Gen AI providers. First thing, we are fully independent in the way we design the systems, so we can basically train models from scratch and customize the models for each and every industry. So we have built models for chemistry, for physics, for logistics, for finance, for government. So we have the full control on the design of the system because we have our own R&D lab, 300 scientists, and we can start from scratch if it's needed. So it's really like a custom approach. Second point, we are fully vertically integrated. So we also have AI compute. We have AI cloud. So we have basically announced our cloud initiative a year ago. So we are building 2 massive data centers in Europe to host AI workloads, training and inference. The first data center will be open in Paris in July, already partly open, and another big one in Sweden was announced 2 weeks ago. So we also want to be competing against American hyperscalers on the hosting and the AI workloads specifically. Third big difference is that we will remain an open model provider, and that's a big difference in the race today. If you take the hypothesis that all the AI processes will be run through AI in the next 10 years, you need to consider that as a critical infrastructure. It's not a classic software game here. We're talking about something that has to be fully controlled and mastered by organizations and governments. So we can't afford to have a private API being basically cut off at any point in time. When you run critical use cases, a lot of organizations have understood this, and we are the main provider for those administrations. We also want to make sure that AI will be run locally on edge. We believe there's a lot of super interesting use cases in factories, in cars, in space stations, and so we need to have a more, I would say, decentralized and efficient approach on the models. So basically, building customized and small models. And for that, we have created a team that is providing services to the most advanced organizations to customize those systems. So it's the fourth pillar. We do R&D projects with our partners. We do use case deployment and customization, and that makes a big difference because we try to enable our partners and to give them some knowledge on how to train and deploy AI systems. That makes a big difference with our competitors. At the moment, we focus a lot on public sector. There's a lot of return on investment also for citizens there. So we are trying to make sure that public services are more efficient. For example, we build use cases for faster permit approvals, to reduce wait times on a lot of process with agentic workflows. We also try to improve the transparency of the state with respect to the public data. So there's a lot of also chatbots that are built to making sure that citizens have a better view of how the state is managed. There's a lot of also chatbots for employment, to making sure that there's better employment job matching. I will get back to the use cases, but we're really focusing on those pillars at the moment. We have built basically kind of pre-built solutions for a lot of public services in legal, in work, in culture, and so we are able to deploy those things in a few weeks in a lot of organizations at the moment. I will get back to the use cases. If you take a look at this chart, I think it's quite interesting because we are usually mapping use cases on with respect to 2 variables, priority and like transformative potential of the use case, and the feasibility with the current technology. And if you take a look on the right-hand side, upper right-hand side, you can see the use cases that are the most prioritized at the moment and the most feasible, meaning that you can actually deploy a system in production in like 3 months, something like this. This is usually how we think of prioritizing with organization. We map all their use cases, and then we build short-term, medium, and long-term plans. You can see some more research-oriented use cases, for example, on the left-hand side. Transport optimization was a very good example. AI in healthcare also, it needs more research and more work before production. So it's important to keep that in mind when you implement a use case roadmap. And here you have a better idea of what we develop for some public sector organizations. Usually what we are trying to optimize when we build use cases, so if you go beyond the model, is all the guardrailing compliance parts. So we have built some products for this that are basically a lot focused toward observability right now and monitoring of the processes. So we control for the output, and we basically refine the system with the user's data. That's really an important part. It's an ongoing process, and we are really building AI safety at the moment with observability and judge models. That's the first thing where we invest a lot of resource. Then we are trying also to build unified access to all government services. So via modular APIs and workflows, and that is basically an approach that some states are taking at the moment, and that's where we have them. And third, we also make sure that the AI use cases are deployable in a lot of different environments, on applications, on web apps, through the existing portals of the administrations. So that's the kind of thing that we need to fine-grain when we work with administrations. Very quick on the technical stack that we have built. Right now, models are commodities, so we want to make sure that we have great models, and this is the case. But now, when you create a use case, the model is really like the most easy part, and what we need to optimize for are good products. So we are trying to build very good products for coding users and for no-code users. What you can see on the right, and what we build is Vibe for Code. It's our coding product for software engineering. So you can use it in your terminal, you can use it in the IDE. That's the first part, and there's a lot of use cases, and we believe that's the fastest growing sector in AI right now. And on the left-hand side, we need also to build a productivity tool for no-code users. So we have tried to gather all the productivity use cases in one single product that is called Vibe for Work. And in the middle, it's basically the building blocks. So you need a product to train your own AI system. It's called Forge, to do R&D. And on top of it, the AI Studio is the product to deploy use cases, monitor, evaluate, and refine. On top of it sits the solution part, where we have people deployed in organization to accelerate the creation of use cases and to customize this product stack to the actual use cases. The three important things to keep in mind, and our vision is about continuous improvement. So all of this stack is usually nourished with user data. That's the first thing. Second thing is like it's fully flexible, so it runs on-prem, on the cloud, or on any cloud. So that's the most important part of our product. Here you can see the most developed use cases at the moment with respect to their applications. So we are building this for a lot of organizations at the moment. We are trying to build one unified product with document processing, meeting intelligence, knowledge search that is connected to a lot of knowledge bases inside organizations, and multi-step workflow automation, all in one product, one interface for business users. On the right-hand side, the classic coding use cases, obviously. And what's also very important for us is to make sure that we will basically, and it's already the case, we are basically making sure that those features are up and running at any time. So you can see all the features that you need when you are a very advanced organization in some industries, from the creation of the AI system to the deployment and the control with the users. We base all our use cases on this family of models. We have created multimodal models from basically large, small, medium. Those models are our generalist models, so they're good for most of the use cases, but we also needed to train specialist models. So we have voice now, we have OCR for a lot of document analysis. We have Devstral, that is the agentic code model, that's also state-of-the-art. And we have also built a lot of verticalized models for industries. And that's, I think, where a lot of value lands. We do a lot of co-innovation with big industrial companies. So we put models in cars, in drones. We create models to basically optimize traffic, to create new formulas, new elements. That's really where the IP is interesting is that you need to have one provider that is giving an open backbone, an open model that can be customized and that can basically embed all the organization IP. And this is where we're going to, I would say, shift from a very general purpose AI that is also now showing its limits to a very IP-focused AI. And this is going to basically change the way we create use cases. I'm trying to be very quick because I think I only have 2 minutes left. Just some use case stories. For example, in France, we've built the employment job matching system. It's basically using different types of models here. So you have the LLMs, but you also have OCR models to basically read all the resumes and all the documents that we have. Here, it's quite interesting because we've deployed that to more than 5 million job seekers. So there's a system that is basically looking and analyzing all the different job offers that are available on the market at the moment and matching it to resumes and skills that are properly classified. So that's one kind of very transformative use case. We're doing also the same in Luxembourg also. We are also building a platform for the healthcare operations in France with the national entrance. Here you have a lot of compliance check, automation of a lot of approvals and permits. There's obviously the classic knowledge search within a very large base of information. You can imagine that the French national healthcare has one of the biggest database in the world when it comes to health. So we are also building very advanced knowledge search engines there, and all on their premises or on the private cloud. We build also a lot of different models for dialects and languages. So we optimize for very scarce languages, and for example in Southeast Asia, but this could be the case in a lot of dialects. Our models are very good in Dutch and French and English, but there's a lot of dialects, and we usually optimize for and customize for dialects. And this is a quite iconic also OCR use case that we have revealed a week ago, where we fine-tune OCR models to different workflows of digitalization. So we also help on the digitalization part before the AI comes. So it's quite iconic too. I think I'm not going to go through the security and defense use cases, but I will share with you all the different use cases we've built. So I thank you for your attention. I'm available for the Q&A right after to deep dive on other topics. And I hand over to you now. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, William. Thank you, Gwenaël. So now I will explain a little bit how we move forward. And in my part, I will explain why Proximus is made sense for this partnership in terms of expertise and way of working with partner and customer. And then I will try to take time to have Q&A after. So with Gwenaël and William, so we can try to reply to your question you might have. Alors, why Proximus is relevant in this story? Alors, Proximus has a long legacy in doing AI projects with a serene legacy. We have a lot of internal expertise in AI. We have 100 data and AI experts. We have a center of excellence doing custom AI, understanding the model, deploying. We have cybersecurity specialists. We have cloud specialists working with external customers, as well as solution architect and specialist integration in application. Proximus AI as well, the internal transformation of Proximus as a major industrial player in telco. We have more than 200 AI use cases explored internally. We have a mature AI governance to transform the group with the emphasis on creating value on the use case that we do and we build. So we have a methodology to make business analysis, understanding the use case, and take most of profit of AI. And as well, the deployment and hosting, we started 10 years ago with pure on-prem AI, and now we are working on the cloud-based solution and being able to scale at different level. As well, I only put a few logos with a lot of technology partners to understand the new technology and understand how we can use it to take the most of value out of internal usage and external customer. And as well, as a big telco player, we have to be very mature in the way we assess and we understand the EU regulation compliancy. That makes a lot of sense for Mistral as well. And as well, we have to stick to be very strong in the way we secure our AI models. So we have strong compliance rule for the security, and we understand how to use it and to stick on innovating while observing regulation security. Voilà. Alors, what is very important at Proximus Next, we have a methodology. You know this workflow from AI use case definition to the deployment. What we try to do and to understand is to co-create with Mistral, understanding how they evolve very fast in the technology, all the stack that William explained you, how we can use it at every step of the offering to make sense. Because nowadays it's an ecosystem, it's not only a collaboration between two players. And we try to understand how we can maximize the value creation for customer with the emphasis on sovereign AI. Alors, we have the three steps that we try to do, because what is very important to us is to qualify customer to see in their sovereign aspect of AI, if, for example, using Mistral is the right choice. We have, Gwenaël explained you that we have a portfolio, and we have a qualification phases to really understand the need of the customer and try to guide them with the proper approach. With the phases as well on really working on having value creation use case. As well, we see after how we can build and deploy the solution, how we can develop, co-create with Mistral environment, where to implement it and integrate it, and design the proper infrastructure. I will zoom in it just after. And the third scale is how we can go forward after to make it happen and scale the evolution with Mistral. Donc, how we can deploy, what is very important, Proximus Group is a group. So we have the Sovereign Cloud partnership based in Luxembourg, donc Clarence. We have Sovereign Data Center with the UFlex offering. And as well, we are able to work directly on the infrastructure of the customer if needed. And as well, we can propose, of course, more hybrid solution from public cloud to serverless approach. Again, it's really on how the customer needs and how we can select and advise the customer with the best offering. The last step is, of course, we can guide them. At Proximus, we have been working a lot in the change management to foster the adoption of AI in the organization, how we can organize support and maintenance, performance monitoring, because it's very important to have a guidance through the AI journey after the AI use case, and see how we can make it evolve as well. So what is very, very important as well is how we can deploy, to use the word of Mistral, the AI flywheel after a successful AI use case, how we can make a success story and scale the AI through the organization. Voilà. I kept it short. So I put names here if you have questions about the AI partnership with Mistral and the journey. You can feel free to contact us, and we will be very happy to reply to your question if you have questions after this Q&A session and for the people online as well. Thank you.
Do you hear me? Yes. We still have a couple of minutes available for some questions. So now feel free. We're available.
Hello. So yes, we have one question offline, and I like it. So that's for Mistral. For your government solution, specifically, are the models deployed on-premise self-hosted, or Llama style them, or are they calling your cloud endpoints? Because from a NIST2 compliance perspective, there are two completely different threat models. Our non-promise air-gapped deployment eliminate the network attack surface entirely. A cloud call, even to an EU endpoint, Belgian endpoint, whatever, and introduce supply chain risk, availability dependencies, and potential data in transit exposure that NIST2 Article 20Y requires to mitigate. So concretely, can a Belgian federal government run Mistral models 100% locally without zero outbound calls?
Thank you very much for that question. Very straightforward answer. The models are deployable everywhere. So usually when we work with government, we deploy on-premise, air-gapped, on national government infrastructure. That's the case in Luxembourg, for example, where we build a national platform and that everything is located in the country. It's the same in Singapore, with the Singapore government, everything is air-gapped. It's the same in 95% of our agreements at the moment. But in some cases, there's some use cases that can be run on the cloud, and for efficiency purposes and for scaling purposes, we also provide cloud instances with our product. So we basically advocate for a hybrid approach, and it's a government choice, basically. Sovereignty is about having the choice to decide where you want to deploy, and that's what we bring with the open weight philosophy.
Quite large microphone. Hello, I'm Luc Jacobs. We create, actually, I'm from Dialogue AI, and we create a customized chatbot for public administration. Three main hurdles. You actually tackle one point, which is the model fine-tuning. Okay, that's one thing. But the two other hurdles I haven't heard anything about, and maybe Proximus can also comment. Data, which is basically data quality, data security, conformity. It's bullshit in, bullshit out. So what are you going to do there? And then the last one is prompt engineering, which is also a difficult resources. And I would like to understand what kind of initiative you can bring there.
That's a very good point. On the prompt engineering, we have a lot of methodologies and solutions teams that we basically deploy to have a fine-tuned understanding of the use cases. So the prompt engineering, we optimize it a lot with our customers by having team deployed there. There's also our product are also natively open to system prompting and a lot of customization on that front. But it's usually linked to the use case, the way you want to system prompt, when you want to put the good guardrails. You need a strong product that can basically enable this, all those levels of guardrailing, from the model alignment to the system prompt to the basically data you connect. So we have the product for this, but to make sure that it's very accurate, we usually have a solution architect or deployment strategists that work with the organization, the government's team, to enable them to do that themselves. So we have a kind of enablement and upskilling job to do, so that they can maintain the use case in time in production. So it's not only about doing it like on a one-off opportunity, but it's really giving the keys to understand how the system is working on very strong product, and that's how we manage to basically deploy models on very sensitive use cases, in whether it is citizen chatbots or whether it is ASML machines. In any point in time, what you need is to have a very strong guardrailing system, and this needs to be done at the use case level with the business teams that are working on this use case. So we have to go case by case with very meticulous approach. on the data. I don't know if you want to add something, but we are...
Yes, of course. Donc in the chart that I've presented, donc the layer with the data platform and data governance, that's why donc in the Proximus Text offering, we have specialists able to help you at the relevant step. So we won't never start a use case without having data ready. The data is always the key, you know it like me. And it's very important to see how we can leverage the Mistral models when you are ready to use it. And for then, we can propose data governance and with the specialists I mentioned.
Good afternoon. I've heard that you are able to have an on-premise local solution, but what are the typical resources needed to deploy it? Just a standard product, because I suppose that it's a lot of different size.
Yes, exactly. It depends on the underlying models that you're using. If you're using a general purpose multimodal model classic, like for example Mistral Small, it can run on 2 GPUs. So I would say between 2 GPUs, and in some cases we deploy on 100 GPUs. So it really depends on the scale of the use case. But to start with, 2, 4, 8 GPUs are enough to deploy a platform, a general purpose AI platform. And this is because we train small models. But if you would like to host like the latest Claude model, for example, you would need maybe 16 or 24 GPUs just for one model. So.
Okay, last one. In terms of investment for Mistral, in terms of investment for Mistral, I'm also working for the government. What is the budget allocated for on-premise solution? So really about the hardware, the GPU, NVIDIA, so to build all the lake, I would say, the pool, just for that. And then what is the value proposition that Mistral is offering? Because the model are running on-premise, so I can download them on Olama, whatever. So if I get it well, Mistral then provide like the Odoo. We have Odoo in Belgium, a big unicorn, an amazing company in Belgium that is providing services. So if I get well, the business model of Mistral is becoming more and more like consultant selling, giving value advice and stuff like that, like the Big Four, in fact.
So that's a very interesting question. I will answer with the end of the question. First, the value added when you run on-prem is not the model. The model, as you know, we can download it on Hugging Face and you can try to run it locally. The value added is in deploying a product that enables organization to scale the use case to thousands of users. And scaling, and to scale this, you need 3 things. You need optimized inference, so you need a software that is basically optimizing the model to your infrastructure to increase the throughput. Second, you need a very strong observability product that is enabling full control on the output of the models, and so it's very tough to do it on your own. And third, you need basically continuous improvement with the refining of the model thanks to the user data. There's very few AI providers that can provide those kind of softwares. There's maybe 3 or 4 AI studios like this available now. So it's more on like having control with observability, workflow automation, and continuous improvement, and scaling that to 100,000 users, 200,000 users. That's what we do for the big corporates in Europe. Obviously, for a very small organization, it's less relevant, and open source can be I would say, a self-sufficient product. And on the beginning of the question, on the budget, I agree that it's expensive to buy GPUs right now, but I expect this price to be to decrease and be more and more competitive because there's many alternatives on the inference right now. There's new companies that are providing inference hardware, so this will be decreasing over time. So it's expensive, but it's also the cost to have more control and to also be more autonomous in the way you create systems and you fine-tune them. At the end of the day, you're also winning when you learn on how to train and build use cases. So it's a trade-off, I agree, but there's a lot of strategic companies that are doing this at the moment.
I have a short question.
although it's quite deep, I guess. We are seeing a kind of AI data Ouroboros, where the more we produce, the more we need AI to process it. And so as the gap between AI adoption and methodological depth widen, there is a major risk of a runaway effect where we cut corners just to stay relevant. How does your sovereign model help a public institution maintain structural integrity and rigorous oversight instead of just providing a faster way to process an explosion of unverified data?
That's a tough question. I would say that at the moment there's a risk of inflation of the data. I agree, but what we focus on at Mistral is basically what we call the iconic use cases or the transformative use cases. When you take a look at those use cases that are about automating tough processes or that are processes that are like very, I would say, legacy, there is no such problem around the data inflation. It's usually more understanding what data is useful to the use case, find a way to ingest this in the system. This is where the complexity is right now, is to talk to the different business units, understand all the different expertise that the people have in all kind of units. Gathering all this IP, so this data, is the most difficult part for AI provider like us, because it's not available on the shelf in a product. There's no product that can understand what someone is doing in a factory, or someone is building a car, or shooting a drone, or anything. This needs the action of set of expertise, humans and products at the same time. And for that, we need to have a good understanding of the data environment. The inflation of data is more a problem that I see on B2C applications, or like I would say on the open web, when you see all the disinformation that is created by the machines and by the systems, and the way it can pollute democracy or things like this. Here I see a big risk on like machines creating data to pollute, and Europeans not having their own algorithm to prevent and to defend ourselves from this this content. This is what also we are created, and we are releasing those models open source. Like, it will be useful at some point to have models that can detect harmful content and that can basically classify, counterattack, things like this. So I see the risk more on that front. So I'm sorry, I'm pivoting a bit, but this is where I see the data risk.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us. I think we can still spend some minutes outside of the room, so if you would have any remaining questions, please feel free to join us. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.